and very welcome to the next tutorial in a series of tutorials for the Lampi console. In this tutorial we will talk about the Virtual Executor window. The Virtual Executor window can be opened by clicking on the button which is found in between the magic wand and the home button on the top of the screen. It contains a total of 40 executor buttons in 5 rows. Each row may be set to only allow one active playback at a time. You may do so by pressing the magic wand button from within the Virtual Executors view and selecting the link row button for each of the rows where you would like to enable this feature. When link rows is set for a row, it shows up in a light orange background color. Virtual executors may only contain one queue. They may be controlled using OSC or MIDI, or if you have a Lampi 20 or 40 with a dongle connected or 2Universe console on the external monitor. Furthermore, the Virtual Executor window contains global speed faders that affect executors, playbacks and scenes. It also contains a Grandmaster which globally dims down the brightness for all fixtures, as well as the Chaser Speed Master and the Global FX Size Master. The icon in the button also indicates if one of the masters within the window is active. Whenever one of the masters is at a different value than its default value, the icon will be shown in orange. When the Grandmaster is at 0, the icon will be displayed in red. All of the faders have useful buttons next to them. So for the Chaser Speed fader, for example, you have a double speed button and a half speed button. For the Global FX Speed as well. For the Global FX Size, you also have double, half and 0 buttons. The Chaser Speed Master also has a global tap sync that may be reached within this window. The Virtual Executor labels itself provide several layers of feedback to you. Right now, all of the virtual executors are empty. As soon as we program one, you will see how the buttons change, so let's get started recording our first virtual executor. Right before this tutorial, I have programmed a scene that just contains the dimmer values for our moving lights. I did this so we have light output without having to have the dimmer value in the programmer, because we only want to store colors into the virtual executors. Let's change to the home screen, to the groups view, and let's select all our fixtures. Now set up the values you would like to store into the virtual executor. You can do this by using the presets, values tab or the effects tab. In my case, I have created some presets that use the CMY colors of my lights. Let's select the open preset. Let's change to the virtual executor view, press the record key on the front panel and select the first executor. We will call this one white. Next up, let's create a new one. Just select the red preset, go back to the virtual executor screen, press the record key again, and select the second virtual executor. Let's repeat this once more. Now let's clear the programmer. Whenever I press the white virtual executor, the fixtures will be output in white. When I press the red virtual executor button, they will be displayed in red. When I press green, they will be output in green. This is kind of perfect to create a very flexible layout for shows. You can modify the content of each of these virtual executors in the same fashion as for scenes, groups, presets, playbacks, or anything else on the console. For example, simply select some fixtures, set some values, go back to the virtual executor screen, press the record key on the front panel and select an existing executor. The console will now ask you what to do. If you want to remove the values in the programmer, click on the remove. If you want to overwrite the virtual executor with your programmer content, click on overwrite. And if you would like to merge the programmer content into the existing virtual executor, press on merge. In this case, we're happy with the values stored in our virtual executor. So I click on cancel. Let's have a look at the settings of each virtual executor. You can do so by pressing the Edit key on the front panel and then simply selecting your virtual executor. The Edit Virtual Executor dialog looks very similar to the Edit Scene or Edit Playback dialog. We can choose between two button functions: toggle on-off, that means the first press will turn the executor on, whereas the second press will turn the executor off, and flash, whereas the executor will turn on momentarily when you press the button and it will be switched off when you release the button. Furthermore, you can define a fade time that is used to fade into this virtual executor, and you can define an off time, which is the time it will take to fade out. You can also turn on auto off other effects. There is a load values button down here, which loads this virtual executor to the programmer. Furthermore, virtual executors can be modified in a very similar manner like anything else. Should you wish to delete a virtual executor button, simply press the delete button on the front panel and choose the virtual executor button from the screen. You can copy a virtual executor in the same way as anything else. You can press the copy key on the front panel, select one virtual executor and select the destination virtual executor. Or you can move a virtual executor by pressing Shift and holding it, then pressing the copy key at the same time and selecting the virtual executor you would like to move, followed by the destination virtual executor. You can also rename virtual executors by pressing on the name key on the front panel and then selecting the virtual executor from the screen. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. I hope you liked it and I hope you keep learning new things, and I'm looking forward to see you again soon.